So we're going to have an opening song by our famous Judy.
So we're going to open with a song, and the tune is Swing Low, Sweet Chariot. So I know you all know that tune. So when the words come up, here's the way it goes.
Thank you, Judy. I feel like Shirley got a concert. But anyway, well, welcome again. I'm Charlie Bourne, practitioner for today. And today also is Dr. Mary Mitchell, and we have Shirley Wade, practitioner, and we have Christy here, all available for treatment after service if you want to partake in that. So we're going to invite the children up. And as we sing to them, if you want to wave to the camera for everybody online. And for those online, just a reminder, we're here, so you can come on in and join us in person.
You are the place
Very sweet. Thank you. So if you're new with us today, if you would like an information packet, just raise your hand. And I know we just updated the packets to have the most current newsletter in there. And if you are shy and want to pick one up on the way out, they're in the back along the wall there. So we also know it's one way to invite people in is to invite your neighbor or a friend and bring them in, and so you can take a packet home and invite somebody to come in. So if you have a cell phone or a mobile device, if you can silence that, we'd like to keep the quiet in here during service. And then I'd like to thank everybody in service. I'm not going to go through the names, but we have the sound team, the ushers and the greeters, and we have the kitchen crew, for after service, in the social hall, and then our musicians, but I will name Judy. Yeah. Thank you, Judy, for doing everything today, music-wise. So I'm going to go through fairly quickly some of the key announcements. I'm not going to go through everything. And just a reminder that in your program and in the awareness and also online, you can read about all the announcements, everything that's going on. And there's quite a bit going on. But first of all, I'm going to announce that this Friday, starting about noon, they're going to be cleaning the carpets, in here and then the office and in the bookstore. But we're also going to be cleaning the floors in the social hall. So that means Thursday afternoon and Friday morning, and then we need some help, moving everything out and making the space clear so they can come in and do the cleaning. And then starting later in the evening on Friday and then Saturday morning, we're going to put it all back together. So if you're interested in helping, if you can let Linda know on the board desk, she's up here right now, but she'll be back there in a little bit. Give her your name and number, and then I'll be the primary contact for you if you want to help out. But with the team, we can do it really quick. But the good news is we're going to have really spick and span floors, and very, very clean. And this is from an endowment grant to do this. So a few quick announcements. The Essence of Science of Mind with Dr. Mary, that's today at 11:15. And that's for those interested in being a new member. The book club, The Second Half of Life, opening the 8 Gates of Wisdom with Robin Backstrom. She's one of our practitioners. And that'll be starting Monday, July 10th, 2 to 4 p.m. in the social hall. The men's group with Roy Wolfstad is also tomorrow night, July 10th, 7 to 9 p.m. Caregiver support group, which is a really valuable group that Dr. Mary is leading. That'll be Thursday, July 13th, before we move everything out of the social hall. So that'll be Thursday. And then Awakening to Fitness with Life, a meditation with Jill Matthews. This is an ongoing, beautiful service that Jill is offering two Thursdays a month. So the next one is Thursday, July 13th, 6:30 to 8 p.m. in the Meditation Pavilion. New Moon Circle, there's a lot going on. New Moon Circle with Lori Buckman, Friday, July 14th, 6:30 to 9 p.m., and that'll be out in the cottage. And again, you can read more about this in your program. July 22nd will be the SOAR Spirit of Adventure. They're going to be going to Mount Shasta, to Panther Meadows and Gray Butte and the Peace Garden. And you can connect with Cher on that. And then Christy Carr has a very popular Beads and More that she offers monthly. And that workshop will be this Saturday, July 15th, 1 to 4 p.m., after we put everything back in the sanctuary. And if we're not done, then you'll meet outside. We'll be done. So Christy's here today, so you can always talk to her about that. Then the Gong meditation with Joan Richards. This is going to be monthly on Sundays. So the next one is Sunday, July 16th in the sanctuary, 6:30 to 7:30 p.m. And that's a really beautiful service if you ever experience the gongs and having that go within you and deeply penetrate you. It's beautiful. And then along with that is also crystal bowl sound healing bath with Irene Bulmer. And the first time Irene did this, we had pretty much the sanctuary cleared out, and people have their mats. And then she goes a beautiful service of doing crystal bowls and going through the chakras and different sounds, and very, very deep. So that'll be Friday, July 21st, here in the sanctuary, 6:30 to 8 p.m. And if you have any questions about that, Irene is here in the back, and she's raising her hand. You could talk to her about that. And then, Sue, I don't know if you want to talk about this, the Soup and Spirit readings, a Bliss Save a Team event. So this is with Lori Barnes and Kelly O'Leary and the Bliss team, and it's going to be Saturday, July 22nd, 6 to 8 p.m. So I'm just going to read what it says because I couldn't reword it any better. But join us just for the fun of enjoying soup and salad together as we play with intuition. This event will inspire us all with so many possibilities. It is about deep listening and eating. But it really is a way of community building and just coming together and having fun and getting to know other people as well. So if you can mark that on your calendar. And again, this is all out there on the walls, it's online, and it's in your program. So with that, I'd like to invite our board member, Linda, up to do the reading for today. And then followed by the invitation of the bell by Dr. Mary. And when you do the invitation of the bell, just allow that sound to deeply penetrate within your soul. And it's part of preparing yourself for Reverend Sue's talk today. And then also, Shirley Wade will also be doing our prayer today. Linda?
Good morning. 5 centuries ago, or so the story goes, halfway around the world in a village in Punjab on the Indian subcontinent, there lived a young man named Nanak. He was deeply troubled by the violence around him, Hindus and Muslims in turmoil. One day, he disappeared on the bank of a river for 3 days. People thought he was dead, drowned. But Nanak emerged on the 3rd day with a vision of oneness. Ik Onkar, the oneness of humanity and of the world. This vision threw him into a state of ecstatic wonder, and he began singing songs of devotion called shabads, praising the divine within him and around him. In other words, he was in love. Love made him see with new eyes. Everyone around him was a part of him that he did not yet know. I see no stranger, said Guru Nanak. I see no enemy. Guru Nanak taught that all of us could see the world in this way. There is a voice inside of each of us called Humai, the I that names itself as separate from you. It resides in the bowl that holds our individual consciousness. But separateness is an illusion. When we quiet the chatter in our heads through music or meditation or recitation or song, the boundaries begin to disappear. The bowl breaks. For a moment, we taste the truth, sweet as nectar. We are part of one another. Joy rushes in. Long after the moment passes, we can choose to remember the truth of our interconnectedness, that we belong to one another. We can choose to see no stranger.
we come together this morning in the realization that we are each an aspect of the one living God. There is no other than the divine, perfect and complete, all power, all beauty. We sense the divine presence in the natural beauty that surrounds us, and we see it in the kindness and compassion that we seek to bring into our relationships. We aspire to live our lives in a way that reflects Spirit's purpose, and we wish to use our God-given talents for the welfare of ourselves and others. We're grateful knowing that each of us is a unique expression of light and love. And now we look forward to Reverend Sue's message as we seek and find the truth that will guide us as our lives unfold. And so it's with a sense of inner peace that we release this word to the law, and together we say, and so it is.
Good morning. Thank you, Shirley and Judy, for that beautiful prayer to draw us in. So, I'm Reverend Sue talking today. This month is about speaking truth to circumstance. And today the title is Truth or Trance. So, I was really entertained with this, so maybe you will be too. I just hope so. Because I'm going to start the message with a little game. And I want to call forward 6 volunteers who really aren't aware that they were volunteering, so I'll call it SAVA. I was able to reach a couple of them, but so I'll try to explain what we're doing once they're on stage. But Kurt Mitchell, please come forward, Kurt Mitchell, and Judy Preble, and Reverend Lynn, and Christian Rizzi, there's the man, and Susan, me? Yeah, you. And Nadine. Oh, no. I know. It's something. Oh, and all of you are the ones that are going to be guessing the truth, okay? So I have here 6 fish, and 5 of them are red herrings, and 1 is the true blue kipper. So these people are going to be receiving their fish, and you're not to know who got what, all right? So that's... you can see what they look like there, but when I hand them to the people that are volunteering Savites, I need for them to keep them kind of private, because the one that has the blue, true blue, they get to answer correctly. And the other ones have to, on the spot, make up the answer to the question I'm about to present them. Oh boy, I'm hearing it already. Grumble, you didn't say that was going to be that hard. So I'm going to shuffle these, and I know you're all going, I think I can see the blue one. I think I can. No, you can't, because I'm going to hold them really close. I'm just going to have you take one and hold it really close. Don't let anybody see. Mm-hmm. There's yours. Okay. Now don't blow it, Lynn. Okay. All right, so here's the question for all of you. The first question: why was George P. Purdell disqualified from the Time Person of the Year award in 2001?
because he didn't exist. He did not exist.
You come up to the mic.
He was disqualified because he did not exist.
All right. Judy, come up to the mic.
He was disqualified. He was disqualified because he couldn't sing.
He was disqualified because he was a poet.
I'm still thinking of mine. He was disqualified because he was riding his bike to the competition and crashed.
He was disqualified due to a lack of integrity that was discovered just before the award was given.
Burn. Go deep.
He was disqualified for plagiarism.
All right. So, who do you think, if you think that Nadine was giving you the right answer, raise your hand. Okay, if you think Judy was, all right, you got a fan. And Susan? Oh, look at you, you're gaining some popularity here.
It's, everyone wants to stick up for the poet.
Yeah, and Kurt? Oh.
Oh, thank God.
And Lynn? Look at how they believe, your followers. And Christian? Ooh. All right, will the blue one please stand forward?
So can I interject? I think that your panel here had confused the rules. I was actually supposed to tell the truth, but in fact, Nadine did.
That's interesting, yeah. Nadine plays like I do. I always blew it. I told the truth. And you have she has a red herring, but you're supposed to lie. But
I did.
But you told the truth, because the truth,
He didn't exist.
he didn't exist.
I read the wrong part of it.
All
Okay, I told you I didn't know what I was getting
all
into.
right.
I obviously didn't.
Okay, really fast. We're going to do it again. Really, really fast. Are you ready? Are you okay? Shuffle these cards.
You should start at the other end.
Fish.
That was funny. That. Okay.
Gosh, there was some really, I thought they did, I those guys. You had good reasons. Oh my gosh.
Look at how much more bolder they all are. Here's the question. In 2008, an entirely new kind of bacteria was discovered living inside of what?
Yogurt. Oh, I said it before I was asked.
So you can have everybody speak into the mic.
Okay.
Yogurt.
Water.
California waterways.
A garden snail.
You ready for this? Hairspray.
Toenail polish.
Okay. How many for Nadine? Got a couple there. Judy? Some friends? Susan? Oh, look at that. All right. Kurt? Lynn? Couple, you're losing fans. You're losing. And Christian? You're all a little more doubtful here. Okay, will the blue one please step up? Hairspray. That's the game. Thank you, guys. Thank you. I know, it's called, it's a little fishy, but we got that at Christmas time. We had such a good time, but I blew it every time. Every time. Even if whatever color I had, I gave the answer. I was so nervous. So that's truth. Look at how, I don't know what kind of process you went through to see, well, what's the truth here? This is all I'm given is one question. And only the blue kipper was speaking the truth. And they all tried to convince you. They all had personality. They all had familiarity with you on one level or another. And all of that silliness is just a demonstration that sometimes we think we know the truth just because we like the person. They're our friend, and we relate to them. Or they've always seemed to be straight with us before. Why would they deceive us now? And it's also what Don Miguel Ruiz speaks about when he refers to our domestication, and that we can tend to fall into a trance and never question what we assume is true. So what I really love doing each week is dissecting through the science of mind, and currently we're looking at living the science of mind during a lunch break, and I have a Tuesday and a Thursday class that does this, and they're doing just that. They're probing deeply. They're not just saying, I'm just going to be spoon-fed this spirituality and not question it. I'm going to allow myself to really puzzle with some of the concepts to see, is that the truth for me? And usually what Earnest Holmes is doing is trying to help you see what are your beliefs and what is the truth, and what is God? How can you name what God is, the unnameable? So it's kind of tricky what Earnest Holmes took on. And he continually crafts his words to invite us into the questions. Right, JB? What do we believe? What do we believe? And we all sit there and we're able to answer from where our perspective is in that moment of time. And the next week it could shift completely. Because oftentimes what's really important is to live in the question for a while and not feel like you have to hurry up and have the answer. So this quote from Earnest Holmes from the Science of Mind text, "The belief in a life apart from good is a dream from which we must awake if we are to taste the waters of reality with a capital R, which flow from the source of life. This awakening is a process of evolution, a little here and a little there, until the whole eye is open, and we see that life is neither separate from God nor different from good. Life is God, and good is the only power there is or can be. To awaken oneself is to be healed, made prosperous, happy, satisfied, to be made every whit whole, to be complete as we were intended to be. God is a God of the living and not the dead." Lots of words there. Lots of words. And I guarantee any time of the day you pick that up and it's going to speak to you differently. The important part is as the eye opens, the eye of understanding. So what is remarkable to discover is that we all, at one time or another, have fallen into a trance of accepting what is known as the collective dream that is built on the collective unconscious. Now, this seems like a really heady beginning to this topic, but I invite you to try to listen with the heart and make sense with the beautiful mind that is operating through your brain. So this collective unconscious is also referred to as race suggestion. Now that's a term, that's a little bit of a buzz term these days. This was used a lot in Earnest Holmes' time, but there's a new association with it now, and it's often misunderstood. from what he intended. So let me try to be clear on what he's saying. So right now, stay in your head as I try to describe. Race suggestion is referring to this, and this is from the glossary. Human beliefs, that's the key point. Not divine beliefs or divine truth right now, but human beliefs operating through the mentality of the individual. The tendency to reproduce what race has thought and experienced through time. So these tendencies of the human race to accept a human belief as fact or law is operating through any of us who is receptive to them. So, tearing that down a little bit, the tendency to align with a human belief thought. Example, when they thought the planet was flat. That's coming back now, but when you think about it, how now we say, who would ever believe that? But that's all the information they had at one time, right? They just had this vision that they could just see at the horizon, and then there's nothing after that. There's just big drop zone. And then the people, they begin to navigate the world, and they realized we had a round planet. So think about this tendency of the race, humans, to accept a belief as a fact, as a law operating. Now, Thich Nhat Hanh, he'll take it in a little bit of a different direction. He speaks to it like this. When you're around a group of people, although you want to be yourself, you are consuming their ways. The way we make decisions, our likes and dislikes, depend on the collective way of seeing things. You may not see something as beautiful, but if many people think it's beautiful, then slowly you come to accept it as beautiful. Also because the individual consciousness is made up of the collective. That's why selecting the people you're around is so very important. It's important to surround yourself with people who have loving kindness, understanding, and compassion, because day and night we are influenced by collective consciousness. So it's there. It's a given. It's just there. So we can't think that I'm going to wake up today and my treatment is I'm not buying it. Not buying anything the world tells me today. It's a whole different look upon life. And why do I bring all this up to you today? Because we're looking at truth. We're looking at what deep truth is and what we have fallen into trance about. It's a collective consciousness that came from domestication. This comes from Don Miguel Ruiz from the Four Agreements. And it's familiar to you if you've studied him very carefully. The way he's describing this as domestication is really pointing to the way that we get enmeshed in the collective dreams of the past and are encouraged, we're encouraged through spiritual practice and community to wake up to a supreme truth, a divine truth, an absolute truth, to be ultimately free, to experience freedom. I love how he leads the way in that through the Four Agreements. He says these are his exact words. We surrender to the beliefs of our parents and the world with our agreements with them. When we agree to something, we are saying yes to it. Ruiz calls this the domestication of humans. When you were a child, the humans who took care of you taught you what they knew, and more than 90% of that possibly was not truth. The truth will always lead you. The truth will always lead you to your authenticity. It will always lead you to your happiness. Believing in lies or distortion of the truth is a kinder way to say it, leads to limitations in your life, to needless suffering and drama. In human domestication, you don't have the opportunity to choose your beliefs. All the rules and values of your family and society are imposed upon you. Now, some of you might stir in your seat with that and say, no, I let that go a long time ago. I've had 9,000 years of therapy. That's not influencing me anymore. But it does. It in subtle ways, it does. And just like a computer, all that information was downloaded into your head, but your heart has another way of seeing. In the process of domestication, you learn that you needed to be a certain way in order to be accepted. And it's not okay to be what you are. Now think about some of your parenting. Think of some of the scoldings that you might have gotten just by being a free spirit. Just by thinking it's a really cool idea to take your bike out into the back canyon woods with nobody knowing about it. Freedom. Not so. Not so. There's a little bit of restriction there by the parent when they find you. You're pretending sometimes that you start pretending to be what you're not, but you try to be that. That's junior high and high school for me. You know, I was it's not such a good thing, but I thought it was kind of cool to be associated with the drug group. But I was also with the cheerleaders. I was really kind of a pansy, but I was blended with all of them. But afterwards, when I found some of my friends getting into some serious trouble, I found that I had my name on the list. And I was like such a goody two-shoes. I was so afraid of ever getting into trouble. But because I tried to be like my friends, the one day that I decided to ditch school, I was so worried. I was ditching. And I got up to the girl's house, and I was watching them do drugs. And I thought, I don't want any part of this. So I had to ditch back in. That was hard. It was hard. I thought, I don't know what to do. How do you get, well, the ditching was one thing, but how do I get back in without getting caught? So there was always something in me that led from what's right, what's wrong here. So you form an image anyway through all of this is what Don Miguel is pointing to, what it means to be perfect, but you can never really measure up to that ideal. And that image of perfection is the reasons why you judge yourself today and why you reject yourself. It's the reason you can't seem to accept yourself just as beautiful as you are, just the way you are. So Luis is explaining how people were indoctrinated to adopt a particular belief, and then he believed that children really, in their innate sense of being, they're born wild and free, and they start to learn to behave according to the belief system imposed upon them. So this aim of looking at it, the domestication process, is to teach people how to be free again. So our search for truth invites us back into Earnest Holmes. What does he say? Again, practice the presence of God. To practice the presence of God is to awaken within us the Christ consciousness. That's what it's all about. That's when you start to realize, as you think of something that you believe, and you've believed it for so long, but it continues to challenge you because others aren't believing it anymore, or others never did believe it in the first place. And then I ask you just to explore, is there any of that in me now? Or what cause have you been fighting for? Most likely that cause has evolved into something different, something new, because all things evolve. But you didn't notice the shift because you were holding on to being right. And you were holding on to an original story. So this isn't to point to, am I right or wrong, and where am I wrong? It doesn't matter. What matters is the freedom. What's important here is, are you at peace with yourself? Because freedom is peace. Feel that inside of you when you explore some of those questions. What in life continues to mirror back to you some controversy? Something's going on and you've worked it for so long, and now the invitation, what does it mean? Awaken my Christ consciousness within, to see it with the divine eye, to see it with the fullness of the eye that matters. Divine consciousness, Christ consciousness. Realizing that this is the space of all that's good. There lies within each of us an original cause of our suffering, and throughout our life, for some reason, we've stumbled and we fail to recognize our core issue is so innocently there because we have a shadow savior being that is super skilled at protecting us from hurt, or stubbornly because we cannot possibly be wrong. So, I love what Pema Chodron says here, especially if you're feeling like the world doesn't like you. All these trips that we lay on ourselves, fearing that we're bad and just hoping that we're good, the identities that we so clearly cling to, the rage, the jealousy, the addictions of all kinds, never touch our basic wealth. They are clouds. This is Pema Chodron from a Buddhist perspective. They are clouds that temporarily block the sun, but all the time our warmth and brilliance are right there. This is who we really are. We are one blink of an eye away from being fully awake. One blink. I want you to blink and just say, hey, okay, that did it. I made it. One blink. But it often has to do with the warmth and a brilliance that she's pointing to, that Christ knowing inside of us, that purity. And he describes the Christ consciousness as the Word of God manifest in and through each one of us. That he says to each one of us is to put on the Christ. Put on the Christ to the degree that we surrender a limited sense of life to the divine realization of wholeness and unity with good, with spirit, with God. The Christ knowing dwells within each of us. And we're each partaking of that Christ nature to the degree that the Christ is revealed through each one of you. It's a power, and we need to have a relationship with that truth. So, if we really step into this truth and step aside from our domestication, so to speak, that one life is flowing through us. That one life is flowing through us. In a blink of an eye, it's right there. That holy call, it's just right there, and we become the perfect channel for the divine to flow. So Michael Singer wrote a really beautiful book called The Surrender Experiment, and it's a bold and honest portrayal. He's the one that wrote it, the Untethered Soul. But this entire book reveals his journey, his personal journey for freedom of truth, as we speak of it today. And in his writing, a very honest depiction of what happened in a serious legal battle that he faced. And this is what he says: "There was certainly no lack of people wanting to hear what I had to say. Media outlets from all over the country, including Wall Street Journal and New York Times, were trying to reach me for the comment. But fortunately, I knew better. I had spent all these years quieting down the mental voice, and I had learned that listening to it only fuels the fire. I knew how powerful it was to simply relax and release past that urge to defend myself. I resolved to only discuss the matter when absolutely necessary. Otherwise, I would just go on my business as usual. I hadn't done anything wrong, so why should I let it affect me?" Think about that on your own journey. I read that again and again and again, absorbing it, because there's certain things I just am so stubborn I won't let go. And yet when I look at this, my eyes blink and I open and I see a little bit more truth, a little bit more willingness to let it all go. Over time, he says, it will work itself out. In the meantime, I am not going to let it steal the great peace and joy that I felt and feel deep inside. Right from the beginning, I resolved to see the whole situation, to finally free myself from whatever was left of the sacred person, and I'll interject there, the Christ knowing inside of you, but what was left of the sacred person inside who always had my back. That's my journey, liberation at any cost. So the message today is the courage to be yourself. I invite you this week to maybe find your own surrender experiment and watch for the voices that can tend to lead you astray. They're familiar voices because there's a storyteller in each one of us that is operating and sometimes has the mic, but we can drop that mic and we can look more deeply into the sacred self and say, yo, what would you do? And go deeper and listen to the deep pool of serenity that dwells within each one of you. Think about that deep well has been with you all the time. It has been bathing your feet, this Christ consciousness. Explore the contemplations this week from the master teachers that continue to stay awake. So let's go into a spiritual practice. I'll invite Judy up as I share. Remember Alan Watts? Remember him? Of course you do, Kathleen. She's bouncy curls. But this is what he says. We're living in a culture entirely hypnotized by the illusion of time, in which the so-called present moment is felt as nothing but an infinitesimal hairline between an all-powerfully causative past and an absorbingly important future. We have no present. Our consciousness is almost completely preoccupied with memory and expectation. We do not realize that there never was, is, nor will be any other experience other than the present moment. We are therefore out of touch with reality. We confuse the world, as talked about, described and measured, with the world which actually is. We are sick with the fascination for the useful tools of names and numbers, symbols, signs, conceptions, and ideas. He writes that about the wisdom of insecurity. So join with me in a spiritual practice as I lead you down a path, a curving road. And you can feel in that road that someone's tailgating you, itching to go faster, not knowing perhaps that he's flesh and he's fragile as well, but you realize perhaps he's slowed by sadness, or perhaps he's sick of pressure as well as I. So I pull, each one of you, see yourself pulling to the gravel road. Oh, let him shoot on by. Let it go. And on the right, catch sight of the great blue heron standing tall and still in the aisle made by 2 rows of towering trees. Like a priest in feathered robes, he bows his head 3 times before an altar of mountain bluffs. It's dusk, and the moon just rising illuminates his wings as they open in benediction for evening flight. His parting call, stay awake, holiness may spread its wings for you at any moment. So in this divine moment, as we choose that path, that moment of decision, where God is good all the time, and we allow that one phrase to lead us through every difficulty. And we can question that phrase as we move along and things appear difficult. But we are moving, remember, we are moving from what is unreal to what is real from the Upanishads. We're reminding ourselves in this powerful moment, a testimony that we are invited to wake up, to come out of the delusion, and to know that we are right and perfect just as we are, as a human being longing to be in touch with their divine beingness. So yes, I give thanks for the company I keep, for being allowed in this space, in this holy sanctuary, to spend time each week with all of you as we lean into one another, consistently calling out to one another, help me. I cannot see my way. No one's going to tell you what to do, but what reaches you? Love. Love will just reach out, and love will hold you. Love will lead you. Love will care for you. Love is all there is. So, in this message today, truth or trance, we wake up and we say yes. Yes to that divine impulse within to stay on the path. Stay on the path and listen with reverence all along the way. Thank you, God. Thank you, God. Because we're waking up. And so it is. Thank you. And Judy, you have another song? Thank you. Thank you.
So we're going to practice clapping, okay? And Nadine is going to lead us if you get in trouble, okay? So here's the way you do it. Don't get too fast. No.
Good job, everybody. So it's really fun having the words on the screen now. So we're going to start doing that more often. So we're becoming new age. Or we're going to be a charismatic church. Who knows? So I'd like to invite the ushers forward. And while they're coming forward, I did want to remind you of Dr. Mary's class is going to start actually at 11:15 after the service. And that's in the, if you go to the office and go through the door, there's a room in there called our boardroom, and that's where the meeting's going to be. So just join with me. As I prepare to give my offering, my heart is filled with love and appreciation. Since what is offered here is for my spiritual well-being, I am filled with gratitude, knowing life stays in balance, for as I give, I receive. Well, the song says it all. I am so blessed, and we are so blessed. And this community is so blessed by the gifts from your heart and the gifts from your well-being and your success in life, and knowing that you are giving to a community that is growing and prosperous. And your gift from your heart allows this community to reach out and also to be a beacon for this overall community of Reading and beyond. So with a full heart, together we give thanks for all that is given, knowing full well that is the law of circulation. What is given comes back 100% in many, many different forms, in different ways. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And together we say, so it is. So we're going to close with a song from Judy. And just a reminder, if you would like to help out with clearing of the rooms for the cleaning, just let Linda know at the board desk. And there's lots of things to sign up for, so take a look at everything. And Sue will be up here after the final song. Thank you.
You might want to stand up for this. It's our old favorite, Let There Be Peace. Yes, there is peace on earth.
When
job, Judy and Nadine. So enjoy the social hall. The kitchen cookies have always prepared something lovely for you to have community and conversation, and think about what we talked about today and share your good with another. And just speak the truth on my honor. Hold your two fingers up. Anyway, have a blessed day. Thank you.